got something I want to say. It's going to take about a minute.
Oh, okay.
Got it? With, for lack of a better word, to pontificate. And not to tell you anything that you don't know, but to bring to the forefront of your thoughts for the day, on this day. Because on this day, 23 years and 4 hours ago, people were arriving at work, enjoying their first cup of coffee, and starting their computers for their day's endeavor. The police were arriving at their district, the firemen at their firehouse, and people traveling on planes, doing what they did on this day yesterday, and had no reason to think they would not complete this day as they did on September 10th, nor begin their day on September 11th the same as they did on September 12th, the same as they did today. So, once again, we are reminded of the uncertainty of life and the unmutable certainty of death. And as you go about your daily life today, look at the friends around you, the people in this room, your relatives, the guy next door, and think, you're very fortunate to have them today, and you hope that you have them tomorrow. I would like us all to stand for just a moment in silence for those we lost on this day 23 years and 3 hours ago. While we're all standing, would you please join me in repeating the Optimist Creed, followed by a prayer by John. Would you give us one? Our creed is right up here. So, to be so strong, nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. Make all your friends feel there's something in them. Look at the sunny side of everything. And make your optimism come true. To think only the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. Be just and enthusiastic about the success of others, as you are about your own. To forget the past of the past, and press on to the greater achievements in the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times, and give every living creature you meet a smile. Give so much time to improve yourself, that you have no time to criticize others, to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to admit the presence of trouble. Yes. John, would you lead us in prayer?
Join me with our Father's prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And remember, Lord, we are your servants. We praise you. It is the Holy Spirit's job to convict. It's God's job to judge. It's our job to love. And love you we do. Red, yellow, brown, black, or white, we're all precious in Jesus' sight as we pledge allegiance to our beautiful flag. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
God bless America. It is my birthday, you know.
It is?
September the 4th.
You think we could whip out a song for John?
81 years old
All right.
and still kicking.
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you?
81 years old and still singing songs everywhere I go.
Just getting started.
God bless you.
What do we do first?
I think we're gonna do Sierra.
You gotta have a little fun, don't you?
Yep. Yep. Do you need that paperwork?
Well, I'll get it in a minute. I'm shaky
Well, yeah.
right now.
I need to maybe
Been having
my name
trouble.
tag should be bigger.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta share just one other thought with you on this day. Some years ago, my wife and I had a convenience store on Main Street, and the mail girl was a very cheerful, bright girl, and always friendly and smiling. And
They've got it. I don't have the
she came in one day with her mail, and she was not her usual self. And I even asked her, I don't remember her name, it's a shame, because she was a very sweet person. Asked her what the problem is. She says, I have a terrible delivery. This was probably around 2002 or 3. Probably 2002. She said, I got a terrible delivery, and she showed me this little box. And inside the box was a spleen of somebody that had died at the towers, at the Twin Towers. And their closest relative lived down the street on Main Street in Covington. And for some reason, that really got to me, to get this little box, that's all that's left of, I don't know how they were related, I guess it was a son who was killed there. And that's the kind of event that most people never had to go through, but I thought I'd share that with you for a moment. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the right one here in a minute. I'm Denny Shelton of the Optimist Club of Covington. We meet every Wednesday at 12 noon, Pee Wee's Place, 2325 Anderson Road, Crescent Springs. For our TBNK viewers, today is Wednesday, September the 11th, 2023. Today's presentation is videotape and rebroadcast on Spectrum Channel 203, Alta Fiber Channel 815, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Rebroadcast on TBNK, Telecommunications Board of Northern Kentucky. Stay connected with TBNK to go on demand, TBNK Facebook, and Optimist Facebook. James Morlock, Program Director, Editor, and Cameraman, makes our rebroadcast of Optimist Club possible. I've got something I want to say. It's going to take about a minute.
Oh, okay.
Got it? With, for lack of a better word, to pontificate, and not to tell you anything that you don't know, but to bring to the forefront of your thoughts for the day, on this day. Because on this day, 23 years and 4 hours ago, people were arriving at work, enjoying their first cup of coffee, and starting their computers for their day's endeavor. The police were arriving at their district, the firemen at their firehouse, and people traveling on planes, doing what they did on this day yesterday, and had no reason to think they would not complete this day as they did on September 10th, nor begin their day on September 11th the same as they did on September 12th, the same as they did today. So, once again, we are reminded of the uncertainty of life and the unmutable certainty of death. And as you go about your daily life today, look at the friends around you, the people in this room, your relatives,
guy next door and think you're very fortunate to have them today, and you hope that you have them tomorrow. I would like us all to stand for just a moment of silence for those we lost on this day 23 years and 3 hours ago. While we're all standing, would you please join me in repeating the Optimist Creed, followed by a prayer by John. Would you give us one? Our creed is right up here.
So, to be so strong, nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. Make all your friends feel there's something in them. Look at the sunny side of everything and make their optimism come true. To think only the best, to work only for the best, and to respect only the best. Be just and enthusiastic about the success of others, as you are about your own. To forget the past of the past, and press on to the greater achievements in the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times, and give every living creature you meet a smile. Give so much time to improvements of yourself, that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to admit the presence of trouble. John, would you lead us in prayer?
Join me with our Father's prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And remember, Lord, we are your servants. We praise you. It is the Holy Spirit's job to convict. It's God's job to judge. It's our job to love. And love you we do. Red, yellow, brown, black, or white. We're all precious in Jesus' sight as we pledge allegiance to our beautiful flag. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
God bless America. It is my birthday, you know.
It is?
September the 4th.
You think we could whip out a song for John?
81 years old
All right.
and still kicking.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you?
81 years old and still singing songs everywhere I go.
Just getting started.
God bless
What do
you.
we do first?
I think we're going to do Civic.
You gotta have a little fun, don't you?
Yep. Do you need that paperwork?
Well, I'll get it in a minute. I'm shaky
Well, yeah.
right now.
I need to, maybe
Been having
my name
trouble.
tag should be bigger.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to share just one other thought with you on this day. Some years ago, my wife and I had a convenience store on Main Street, and the mail girl was a very cheerful, bright girl, and always friendly and smiling. And
They've got it. I don't have the
she came in one day with her mail, and she was not her usual self. And I even asked her, I don't remember her name, it's a shame, because she was a very sweet person. Asked her what the problem is. She says, I have a terrible delivery. This was probably around 2002 or 3. Probably 2002. She said, I got a terrible delivery, and she showed me this little box. And inside the box was a spleen of somebody that had died at the towers, at the Twin Towers. And their closest relative lived down the street on Main Street in Covington. And for some reason, that really got to me, to get this little box, that's all that's left of, I don't know how they were related, I guess it was a son who was killed there. And that's the kind of event that most people never had to go through, but I thought I'd share that with you for a moment. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the right one here in a minute. I'm Denny Shelton of the Optimist Club of Covington. We meet every Wednesday at 12 noon, Pee Wee's Place, 2325 Anderson Road, Crescent Springs. For our TBNK viewers, today is Wednesday, September the 11th, 2023. Today's presentation is videotaped and rebroadcast on Spectrum Channel 203, Alta Fiber Channel 815, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Rebroadcast on TBNK, Telecommunications Board of Northern Kentucky. Stay connected with TBNK to go on demand, TBNK Facebook, and Optimist Facebook. James Morlock, Program Director, Editor, and Cameraman, makes our rebroadcast of Optimist Club possible.
It's 24, Danny.
Huh?
You said 23, it's 24.
What's 23?
You said
The
20.
year.
You said 2023.
Sorry.
Oh, we like 23.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What year it is?
Since 2024.
The year is 2024.
2024. Well, hell,
What day it is, so don't.
you'd think a guy who's gonna be up there would know what the year is. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna have a couple of candidates speak to us today. One of them I just met today, and the other one I've known for a number of years. We're gonna have Jennifer Sierra. She's a Democrat from the 23rd Senate. She's gonna speak for 10 minutes. There's gonna be 10 minutes QA and 5 minutes for closing and follow-up, followed by a lunch, which some of us can enjoy while she's speaking, keep things moving along. After her will be Kimberly Poor Mosier. You really use all three names like that?
No, I don't know why they do that.
I'm gonna change that to Kimberly Mosier.
Thank you.
And again, 10 minutes to speak, 10 minutes for Q&A, and 5 minutes for
2 minutes for closing remarks.
two minutes
1 to 2
for
minutes
closing
for closing.
remarks. So by way of introduction, I will introduce, get my notes together here. If you listen to my fingers drag on the podium. Jennifer Sierra. Jennifer was raised in Northern Kentucky and has made her home here, where she is a mother, a wife, an artist, a small business owner, and an author. Jennifer has a small business in Northern Kentucky. Jennifer is very busy. She was brought up with a strong work ethic, obviously, and a commitment to always give back to her community. She has served on the boards of nonprofit organizations, including the March of Dimes, where she focused on premature births and women's prenatal health. She has also served on the board of Women's Helping Women, which provides assistance to survivors of domestic abuse. And has volunteered in the arts community for years, including the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. Do you play an instrument?
I do.
Oh, what do you play?
Piano and guitar.
Ooh, boy.
I guess you can read all them notes too.
Yeah, I read music, yeah.
She loves Kentucky and has wrote children's books titled Merry Christmas,
Y'all.
Christmas, Y'all. That's something that's said in Kentucky, y'all. About Santa's Christmas Eve visit through the Commonwealth, where he gathers items made in Kentucky for his late night delivery. So he runs around after Amazon. Jennifer is running for state senate because because District 23 deserves a leader who will focus not only on quality public education and affordable health care for everyone, but will also support a woman's right to make her own decisions. She will use her experience as well as small business owner to support policies that encourage a strong economic development and bring good jobs for Northern Kentucky. She wants to see working Kentuckians treated fairly and get benefits they need to and deserve. Jennifer is a creative person who will go to Frankfurt to work collaboratively with her colleagues and find innovative solutions to the problems facing our communities. Jennifer is endorsed by the AFL-CIO, Iron Workers Union 70, Moms Demand Action, UFCW, 227, IBEW. For those of you who don't know what IBEW is, it's International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I don't like acronyms, so I gotta tell you some of them.
Just say electrician. Just say electricians.
Is that what an electrical work? I didn't know that.
Don't get shocked.
Don't get shot. The International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, the Kentucky Women's Network, PAC, that stands for Political Action Community. Political Action Committee, not community. The Sierra Club and the United Steelworkers. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me and join me in giving an Optimist Club greeting to Jennifer Sierra.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Can you guys hear me? Okay? Yeah. This is my sound check. I want to thank you guys for inviting me here today. I really appreciate it. On the heels of the recognition here of 9/11, I wanted to stop and say thank you to all the first responders. Without people that are brave enough to take on the unthinkable at a moment's notice, we would not have safety and security in our country. We're fortunate to live in the best country in the world. And I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. I think everyone here does. And it's a day you'll never forget. People came together in the following days like I had never seen in my lifetime. And there was a strong sense of patriotism. And our leaders came together. It didn't matter if they had an R or a D next to their names. People came together and to help each other regardless of religious background or race. So I'd like to see us get back to a time of patriotism where it doesn't just belong to one party or another or one religion. I'd like to see us get back to legislation that reaches across the aisle so that we can create good laws for people that benefit all of us. We need people that aren't just towing the party line. We need people that are in touch with the real world around them, that don't live in a bubble or an ivory tower somewhere. And like our first responders, we have the opportunity to do what is right for our fellow Americans. In every election, we should be voting. But we're not. Lots of people take that for granted. So every citizen of every age, of legal voting age, regardless of your background, if you're a legal citizen, you should take that opportunity to vote because it is a gift. Voting is the way that we preserve our security and keeps us from living in a world of dictators. I decided to run last fall when I realized my legislative leaders were not voting on issues the way the majority of the people in this state and district wanted them to. I'm a small business owner, and I get taxed too much. I pay way too much for healthcare insurance. I pay over $16,000 a year just in premiums. Yeah, wow. Yes, that's right. And that's for my family of 3, and we're all healthy, knock on wood. But it feels like the harder I work, the less I'm getting. It's hard to get ahead as a middle class person. I would like to see the middle class get some breaks instead of it all going to the wealthy, because working class, middle class people are the fuel for this economy. Without the middle class, there would be no economy. I want to live in a state where people get paid fairly and they're protected from big corporations that cut corners to make a buck on the backs of their employees. I'd like to exist in a beautiful commonwealth where teachers, police, and firemen are paid well without their pensions being pulled out from under them. I'd like to live in an area where schools are well funded, police and firemen have the equipment that they need. These places, this industry, like police, fire, and teachers, this is our backbone of our community. And if we don't have good institutions for education, police, and fire, then our property values are going to go down the tubes. And so I support our police, firemen, and teachers. I believe you get what you pay for, so we should pay them well. I'd like to see new and innovative industries come into Kentucky. The future is green energy and diversifying our energy needs. And there's no reason we shouldn't have industries like solar and water technology, wind technology coming in and setting up headquarters in our state. We live in the middle of the eastern part of the United States. We should have green energy technologies. We should be the pioneer in that. That is the way of the future, and that would set Kentucky's economy up very nicely. I would like to see a better healthcare system that is far less expensive and where healthcare is easier to access. Maybe a healthcare system that encourages people to make better health choices instead of just giving them medication. I'd like to say on the flip side of that, I personally, fortunately I'm in good health, but I decided to run 2 years ago after I wrote when Roe v. Wade was overturned. And I know you're going, oh boy, she's going there, she's going to Roe. But I have to make a point about this. The abortion ban was put into place in Kentucky. Our trigger law went into effect when Roe was overturned. And that was Amendment 2. That was voted down in our district by 12.5 percentage points. Now, my opponent sponsored and voted for that many bills on abortion bans, including bans with no exceptions for rape, incest, or non-viable pregnancies. And one of the reasons that I wanted to run was because when Roe was overturned, I was in New York City on a trip with my family, and I was at the Statue of Liberty. And I got the news flash on my phone, and I'm looking up at the statue, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't recognize where I live. We're going backwards, not forward. And I was worried about my daughter. I'm worried about all of our daughters. I'm worried about my daughter's friends. And there's a reason for this. It isn't just, it's not a black and white issue, and I think that we look at too many of our laws as a black and white issue. There's so many nuances to every issue that we legislate on, and this is one of them. Between 10 and 15 years ago, I suffered 5 miscarriages. 5. I was trying to start my family, and I had a miscarriage the very first time I got pregnant, and had a dead child inside of me. My body wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, which would naturally be to push the baby out, and it was very traumatic for me. And my doctor said, you need a D&C. I grew up a Republican, Catholic, conservative, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, no. And they told me, if you don't do this, you're going to get an infection. Your body isn't doing what it's supposed to do. You're going to get an infection, and you will likely lose your reproductive ability. And so I had to make a choice. I did it. I was in great care at the hospital. It was a Catholic hospital, and they took amazing care of me. I was then able to go on and have a beautiful daughter the next time I got pregnant. She is my one and only child. She is the light of my life. And I'm so lucky to have her, and I thank God every day that I have her. But then I went on to try to have more children. And it wasn't in the cards for me. I had 4 more miscarriages. 1 was a set of twins. I know. I was able to miscarry at home, but that was awful. I mean, I felt like such a failure as the one thing a woman is supposed to be able to do, and I wasn't able to do it. Without good healthcare advice, and without that wonderful, compassionate care from the hospital, I don't even know where I would be. I mean, I hear about these poor women in the news that suffer with miscarriages, getting arrested for mishandling a corpse, and all sorts of awful things. They are losing their reproductive health, their ability to have more children. I just believe we've gone too far. I think we need to reconsider what's happening. And I am not for extreme measures on either side. I believe that we need to bring the pendulum back to the middle and have legislators that are willing to not just toe the party line, but to negotiate. Legislators are not doctors, even if they stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. They're not doctors, just like that ad, stayed at a Holiday Inn. I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter. I'm a sister, a boss, a friend. But because I hold these titles, I am uniquely qualified to know what is going on in our community and what people need and what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I am a creative person. I do look at things differently, and I just would like to say I think we need change now. We need change in a positive direction. We need a fresh breath of air. And I would like to be the person that represents you guys in Frankfurt. I would like that opportunity, I would like that chance. So I'm honest, I have a strong moral compass, and I am willing to compromise and bring compassion and equality back to our government. So thank you for your time and this opportunity. I appreciate it so much.
We're going to take a short break.
Okay.
Write your questions down on these cards.
Okay.
and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, you Was that working?
Yeah, just push the little closer.
All right. So you actually have to talk into both. She was only talking into this one.
I was still getting it.
James, do you want this light on?
They said,
There might be some duplicates, so just ignore that.
Okay, the first one, oh, okay.
We'll wait until we're ready to
Oh,
start.
okay.
Take a look at them, remind me
Okay.
what you want to answer. Are you back? Okay. We'll give you a minute to get organized. Jane, do you want to reintroduce her after make the program look more continuous? We're gonna have Denny reintroduce you.
Okay.
Am I on? Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's had their lunch here at Pee Wee's. And I want to reintroduce Jennifer Sierra, who's going to take questions.
And then 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes for closing remarks.
And 1 to 2 minutes for
Closing remarks.
Did I get that right?
Okay. Do you support the income tax cut passed by the legislature? Yes and no. Just like I said before, like there are no black and white issues. I do support cutting income tax. I think that would be great. But I also would like more information. I want to know, if you cut the income tax, what do you have to cut or take away from on the other side to pay for the things that have to get paid for? I'm not willing to cut, we have potholes everywhere. We're always battling that in our climate and everything. And I'm not willing to ride the roller coaster of pothole hell just because, I wanted a cut on my income tax. So I guess in short, yes and no, it just depends. I don't think that there is an easy answer to that, but I hope that helps. Probably doesn't help too much. I'm sure people want a more definitive answer, but it just depends. Like, I just don't want to give up certain things. And infrastructure is one of the things I'm not willing to give up. What do you think of the school voucher system? I do not support it. I do, I know.
We don't want to get into the debate.
I will tell you that my daughter goes to private school, so I would benefit from this, right? I would be able to take my tax money. It's like every private school parent's dream, take my tax money and put it into her school. But I feel like it comes at the detriment of rural community schools that are, public schools, and urban schools that might be poor. The other problem is those, like private schools, they don't have to take a child that's, applying to go to their school. If the child has a learning disability, not all private schools are required or equipped to take children with learning disabilities. And even in my daughter's school, we have had children, classmates of hers, that have had to go out of the school and go back to public school just to get the care that they need because they had learning disabilities. So I do not support the current the thing that's going on, it's the Amendment 2 that's going on the ballot in November, no. Who is your opponent and what areas would you represent? So I'm District 23, which is most of Kenton County, Taylor Mill, Fort Mitchell, Fort Wright, Crescent Springs, Crestview Hills, Erlanger, Edgewood, Covington, Latonia, Ludlow. I'm probably forgetting something here. But my opponent is Chris McDaniel, And it's a pretty large district, like I said, most of Kent County. During the debate last night, one of the candidates said inflation is going down. As a citizen who is tight on cash, I don't believe this is true. What do you think? Gosh, I know what it's like to be tight on cash. As a middle-class person, I feel like I'm always robbing Peter to pay Paul. I think our economy is still recovering from COVID, and I think parts of the economy are doing better than others. I do think that we are still having price gouging at the grocery stores, and that's an issue. I think, I as a business owner, I'm watching, since COVID, I mean, it was ridiculous how often I would have to raise prices for my customers because my materials were going up. And it was constant. It was way more than I had ever experienced before. I was constantly getting these updated prices on materials. And no, I think it's ridiculous what we pay, but we went for a very long time in this country where we didn't have inflation. And so at some point, the economy has to kind of balance itself out. Just like everything else in the world, we need to have balance in our environment, our economy, our politics, balance. So hopefully that's what I can bring to the table. What restrictions would you bring to abortion? And again, this is a very black and white question, and I think when we start getting into legislating what our doctors are doing and advising, they take an oath, a Hippocratic oath, to do what's best for their clients, their patients. So we have to trust that these people are doing the best for their clients and giving them the best advice. I think there are too many nuances in childbirth and pregnancy to manage. There are just too many caveats, right? Like ectopic pregnancies and things that go on in late term, later in a pregnancy's term. I recently did an event at the Kenton County Public Library where I had a couple of doctors from St. Elizabeth come and speak to people, and I invited people of all backgrounds. It didn't matter what your politics were, just come and listen with an open heart and an open mind and get the facts from doctors. And the doctors spoke about abortion and all of the different scenarios where that procedure would be necessary to save the life of the mother or the baby. There are all sorts of, you just never know. It's such a vast, that's why this is so hard. When you start down the slippery slope of legislating medical procedures, I think you run into it getting like it has. I understand the people that overturned Roe probably had good intentions, but we have to really consider what doctors are saying. And doctors are currently afraid to do, in the state of Kentucky, they're referring people to go over to Cincinnati because they're afraid of losing their ability, their license to practice medicine. And that's going to leave a really bad scar on our medical landscape. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, all right. I just want to point out one more thing with the whole medical thing. the one thing that we got out of our seminar really was that lots of doctors are choosing not to practice in Kentucky or other states where there is a complete ban on abortion. And it's because they're afraid of losing their license to treat. So,
Closing remarks.
okay. I can't thank you guys enough for this opportunity. It's very hard for candidates down ballot from the presidential race to get any attention because we're all fighting for that. Every time I'm canvassing, people are like, what do you think about the presidential race? Well, I'm here to talk to you about what's going on in our state. So, you know, I appreciate this opportunity. I love that there's an Optimist club because I consider myself an eternal optimist. So, and I look forward to our future, our state, and our country. We're headed in the right trajectory, I think. Thank you.
James, you ready to start again? Kim, are you ready?
Yep.